Mate, how are you this week? It's Matty Graham here from the Exponential Performance Podcast. This week, I've got an exciting interview with Ryan Blair, the founder of the 100-Day Challenge. This guy is a guru when it comes to not only goal setting, but goal achievement. He works with a lot of high-profile people in the world of sport, business, entertainment, and politics. And in fact, interesting stat for you, 60% of the Fortune 500 used his products and services to build and sustain their place on the Fortune 500. The guy knows his stuff. So let's get into the interview.
Welcome to the Exponential Performance Podcast. Join sports scientist and performance coach Matty Graham to find out how to train smarter and maximize your performance no matter who you are.
G'day, mate. How are you doing this week? It is so good to have you here. It is currently just after 5:30 a.m. and I have just finished a podcast call with Ryan Blair. Now, I'm pretty excited to bring you this. I have talked about the 100-Day Challenge previously on this podcast, and I know a lot of listeners have used the 100-Day Challenge. I know a lot of my athletes have used the 100-Day Challenge, so I'm excited to bring you an interview from the creator of the 100-Day Challenge. Now, the 22nd of September is an important date as it begins the 100-day countdown of this year. 265 days will be gone, and the only thing that matters is how are you going to use that last 100 days to finish strong. Now, this is what the 100-Day Challenge is all about. Finishing the year strong, achieving your goals, and inspiring excellence while creating radical results fast. So you're in for a real treat today. As I said, I've got Ryan Blair on the call, and he's often known as the goals guy. He's a #1 bestseller, author of Everything Counts, and Gary really has, I guess, cracked the code on what it takes to get what he terms 10 years worth of results in just 100 days. The thing I really like about Gary's approach is that he uses a bit of a no-nonsense, high-focused and disciplined approach to transforming people all over the world. His clientele is quite impressive. It's a who's who in the area of sports, business, entertainment, and politics. So he knows what he's talking about. I've personally done the 100-Day Challenge in the past a number of times, and I find it a really good way of breaking through performance plateaus, whether that be on the bike, in sport, or in business, or just personal goals. The 100-Day Challenge was really a big part of me achieving my goals to relocate to my dream location up in Hawea, New Zealand, and currently we are in the process of building the house that we set the goal of when I first started the 100-Day Challenge. The house never came to fruition within 100 days, but it got me on the way to achieving something I never ever thought possible. So if you are interested in joining me again this year on the 100-Day Challenge, hit the link below, and I look forward to joining you on the 100-Day Challenge and smashing your goals. So we're about to jump into the call with Gary. I had to get up early for this one, so I hope you appreciate it. Gary also is right in the middle of the hurricane that is currently happening over in Miami. They had to evacuate their house. He's calling from a different place, so very much thank you, Gary, for that. So I hope you're ready. I hope you've got a pen and paper nearby as Gary talks a lot about how you can maximize your performance, set goals, and most importantly, finish the year strong. So here it is, a call with Ryan Blair from the 100-Day Challenge. Sorry with the delay. It's been a bit crazy here this morning trying to get things rigged up.
No worries, man. No worries at all, seriously.
How are you guys with the hurricane?
A bit of a mess. We're kind of we've got a place up in the Adirondacks in New York, so it's more of a rustic type of a place, so a little different. But we'll be here for a few more days.
Good, mate. Good. Hey, we'll crack into things. So I realise we're short on time, but so I've just mentioned the importance of September the 22nd. Can you give us your take on the significance of this date for everyone that's listening?
You know, it's pretty simple. It's a simple story. It's 265 days down. There's 100 days to go. And if you do the math, I mean, it pretty much works out that way. You need to look at that 265-day mark and ask yourself, are you ahead of target? Are you on target if you're below target? And unfortunately, in this day and age, there's a lot of folks who are below target. So what are you going to do in order to finish the year strong? That's the premise of that date and why it's so important.
So we've got 100 days to go. Why is it important to finish the year strong?
Look at it this way. Think about adjectives for just a moment. I think it's also worth asking the adverse, the starting fast and the finishing strong, because that's really the theme of this whole program. Mm-hmm. There are going to be, if you think about it, there's never going to be a day, a race, a month, a project, a year that doesn't provide you with the opportunity to make a decision. Are you going to finish strong or are you going to finish weak? So first off, it's a choice. It's a choice that you make on a far more consistent basis than you even realize. And most of us have never really looked at it from that standpoint. But the key to it is this. You have adjectives that describe the quality of your character, the quality of your work ethic. And it begins the minute you wake up out of bed. What is your personal philosophy? Are you going to start fast? You're going to start slow? You're going to start, you're going to start procrastinating or start taking initiative? And the same thing on the back end. Are you going to finish strong or finish weak? And ultimately, here's the great part about it. Behavior never lies. Your behavior is a litmus test. It'll tell everybody exactly what you're made of, what you're capable of doing, and quite frankly, what you're willing to demonstrate.
You talk a lot about performance gaps. Can you explain a little bit more about these and what they mean?
Yeah, if you break the year down into 4 quarters, you've got, first, second, third, and fourth. Let's say you had a tangible goal, a financial goal of making $400,000 this year in 2017. At the end of the third quarter, you should have $300,000 in the bag. So it tells us right now that that's where the ideal number should be. If you get to that mark, and let's just say, you're 150 grand short, you have a gap. There's a difference between where you are and where you wanted to be. My whole job and what I do is teach people how to close that gap quickly.
Where did the idea of the 100-day challenge come from?
I've spent probably 20 years teaching people what I call rapid execution skills. And in the creation of the 100-day challenge, what I wanted to do is I wanted to create the best of breed program, but I needed a unique way with which to be able to sell it. And if you take the time to really look at the annual marketing calendar, what you'll realize is that there's January starts off beginning of the year, and you've got Valentine's Day, you've got yourself Groundhog's Day and Mother's Day and Father's Day and Thanksgiving and every other holiday depending on the country that you're in, and they go throughout the year. The nice part about an evergreen event is that they're predictable and you know exactly when they're going to land. So in the creation of the 100-day challenge, I knew I wanted to create a program that focused on finishing the year strong. And September 22nd made so much sense because that became the call to action. That became the date. So that was it. That was really the thought process behind it.
There's a lot of goal-setting programs out there. It's kind of a little bit of a hype these days. Do we really need another goal-setting program?
Well, I'd like to think that this is the best one. The answer is, do we need another one? Probably not. I think this is the only one anyone will ever need to take in their lifetime, to be very frank. And the reason for it is because it works, because it delivers results. The truest test of a program, does it produce results? Does it produce results consistently? And can someone be implemented, or should we say onboarded into the system? And could they actually deploy the same system and expect to get demonstrable results? And the answer in all cases is yes, yes, and yes.
Yeah, nice one, mate. And I guess that is the key thing, is the track record, isn't it? And 100-day challenge has definitely got a long, proven track record.
Well, at this point in time, we just passed the 500,000 participant mark, so I think we're doing pretty good with it.
Yeah, nice. That number says a lot. I know a lot of people are probably pretty skeptical about the idea of the claims of getting 10 years worth of results within 100 days. That's a big, bold claim, and there's been a lot of them over the years. Can someone really make that huge performance gain in such a short period of time?
Yeah, let me give you an idea. I know, because I've been doing this for a long time, people will say stuff like, I've been trying to lose 20 pounds for the last 20 years, or the same 20 pounds since I had my last child.
Yeah.
And that happens. We hear that, and that conversation repeats itself. But if you go and you look at, here's the evidence outside the 100-day challenge. Go and look at programs like P90X or Insanity, any of those things, which I'm sure people are familiar with. And what you have is you have people engaging in a radical, extreme performance, health-related program that provides them with extraordinary benefits. So they can go from fat and flabby to firm and fantastic and look even 10 years younger in as little as 90 days. So the answer is it possible? Of course it is. And we see this happening in so many other ways. There was a show here in the States. It was called Extreme Home Makeover. And normally it'll take about 200 days to build an average size home. They were building a move-in ready home in 7 days. So there are certain things that you can do, demonstrable ways with which you can accelerate the cause, accelerate the effect, deploy better execution strategies in order to drive faster results, without a doubt. But it does begin with your mindset.
So I've got a bit of a question for you. You've explained how to compress that time in the results, but does this method actually make it easier for those people that are, trying to get those results?
The key to look at it is this. The ultimate part of strategy is just to get you to improve your how, the how element of what you do. So there's what you want the goal, there's why you want it, and how you get it. What is the execution? So look at it from this standpoint. When you procrastinate, you expand the amount of time it takes to achieve a goal. When you're decisive and take initiative, you contract it, you speed it up. When you are indecisive or uncertain, anything along that way, again, you expand the amount of time. When you're decisive and focused and you're willing to execute and get the job done with a self-enforced deadline, you speed up the process. It's just the way that it goes. So what it tells you is that every behavior either expands time or contracts time. The key is, how do you just engage in behavior that does one thing? Contract, speed up, accelerate. So you've got to be real wise about that. So you've got to do better things. That's a large part of it. Does it make it easier? Yeah, let me give you an example. A number of years ago, I decided to build a 100% referral-based business. And rather than go out and kind of build out a massive social this and that and everything else, I just decided, you know what? I want to have a very short sales cycle. I want to be able to transfer trust from one relationship to the next, and I want to be able to close deals quickly. And I felt the best way to do that was to build a 100% referral-based business. And you know what? That's exactly what I did. The benefit of that is I do close deals quickly. I do build high-quality trust fast. And people think trust takes a long time to develop. No, it doesn't. When you transfer the trust from one relationship to the next, things become so much easier, everything moves faster, and it's far more profitable. And the only reason why people don't do it is because they simply think that it's going to be difficult, and it's not.
Okay. So, this may sound a little naive, but 100 days to go approximately. What are the specific things people need to do in order to finish this year strong for them?
The first thing you need to do is you need to analyze your performance and see if there is a gap, how big it is. Look at it and ask yourself, what are you doing right and what are you doing wrong? So before you can move ahead or implement anything, you've got to identify what you're doing right and what needs corrective action. Let's say that you're doing things right. My advice would be to put your foot on the gas and accelerate. Obviously you're doing things that are moving the needle forward. If you're behind target, you've got to acknowledge that your current strategies need to be adjusted. Ultimately, strategy comes down to two things. You do things differently or you do different things. But at the end of the day, you're deploying a much better offense. So the first thing, if you were in sales, what I would have you do is take this one number, because this is completely democratic, 525,600. That is the number of minutes in a year. And if everybody believes that time is money and you get paid for commission or sales that you generate and so forth, find out what your time is worth. So if you want to make $525,600, you're going to make $1 per minute. If you want to make $1 million per year, it's going to be worth $1.91 per minute. That's what your time is worth. If you make $50,000 per year, your time is worth 9 cents per minute. But you have to identify what the gap is. And then you have to have a hyper focus just on the value of time, because you have to understand something. Time is running out for you to achieve those sales goals. So until you know exactly what the gap is, and until you decide to get real serious and identify exactly what big of a gap you need to close and in what period of time, then you need to focus in on the maximum use of time. So you start there. That's the first thing that you do.
Nice. And my business is largely with endurance athletes. And I guess they could look at it the same way, as in the number of training days that are left until the end of the year, the number of sessions that we've got to go, how much training time, and maximising each training session to its fullest.
I absolutely agree with you. I mean, the fact is, every session counts, every meeting counts, every minute counts. And if you want to finish it off strong, you got to take advantage of it. But here's a good way of looking at it. I like the term ending on empty. And really what it means is, by the time you get to the end of the year, you want to get there with very little gas left in the tank. Maybe you're running on fumes. I do believe that you want your competitors, you want them to see you get sweaty and stinky and smelly. You want to see them, you give it that extra effort. And in many ways, that intimidates other people from even competing with you. But when it comes to your ability to finish strong, it's going to require you to give it everything you've got. And the end goal should be to end the year on empty, and to be absolutely gloriously proud of the performance that you left on the field.
Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, that's a really good message to take here going forward. So with the 100-day challenge, is it best to enroll in it individually, or as a family, or a team, or, if you're in the workplace, an entire company?
The answer is it depends on the individual, but it's a positive on each one of those cases. So let's deal with it. If you're an individual who is self-motivated, likes working on your own, you'll get a lot of value from the program. I tend to be that way myself. But to me, I would say from an optimal standpoint, this is great for a family or for an organization, for the simple reason that there's proximity. You're all going to be communicating together. There's a collective goal. There's a lot of power that comes with that. And if you challenge one another and use the structure of the program, I think you'll achieve far more than somebody will do just on their own.
Yeah, I know as an example, I enrolled in it with a couple of my athletes that I coach as well. So we were going through it together and, providing support back and forth between us, which I found was really, really good. So who's going to benefit the most from the 100-day challenge, and who's probably not going to benefit from it?
Well, the least is pretty simple. Anybody who's addicted to excuses and thumb sucking and not showing up, they're not going to get much from it. It's going to be a wasted investment. Listen, this is a serious program for serious people who want serious results. And if you really have a genuine desire to finish the year strong, you're not going to find a better program on the planet to get you across the finish line at a very reasonable price as well.
Yeah, so talking on that, what's the investment of, for the 100-day challenge, and how can people sign up for it?
It's very simple. If you do the math, it's 100 days. In this case, it's a $177 investment. So less than $2 per day. You put yourself in a great position going into the next calendar year as well.
Brilliant. And is there a deadline for enrollment?
But here's the way the enrollment works. It opens up on the 22nd of September, which begins the 100-day, and most people will actually enroll that day. We'll keep it right on open until October 1st. So you've got an 8 or 9 day opportunity with which to be able to get in, say yes, and get moving.
Excellent. And if anyone is interested, I'll post a link in the show notes over at Exponential Performance Coaching under the podcast tab for this episode, so you can get on over and check it out. Well, Gary, thank you very much for your time, and hopefully everything goes well at your end with the hurricane and the cleanup afterwards, mate. And thank you for taking the time in such a busy, time of your day.
My pleasure. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, thank you very much, mate. We'll see you later. There you have it. I hope you found that interview useful. Now, if you want to get amongst the 100-day challenge, I will post a link either in the comments below if you're on YouTube or SoundCloud, or over at the Exponential Performance Coaching website underneath the podcast tab for this episode number 24. Through that link, you can download a free manifesto which outlines everything that the 100-day challenge is about. It's packed full of lots of good free info that you can get a head start on even if you don't want to sign up for the program. Just out of interest, what was the key thing you learned from that podcast? For me, there was two things that really stood out to me. And the first is having a look back at your performance or your current state and what it looks like. And I really like the comment on, strategy is all about either do things differently or do different things. And the final things that really resonated with me was ending on empty or running on fumes, really pushing through to the end of the year and being proud of what you achieved. What was the key thing that you learned from this podcast episode? Post a comment below. I would be really interested to hear. I would also be really keen to hear if you would like to share, what are your goals? What goals are you going to be working towards over these next 100 days? Personally, I'm going to jump back on the 100-day challenge. I've got a couple more goals that I really want to work towards. And what I thought we could do is, if you are keen to jump on the 100-day challenge, we could have a little bit of an exponential performance community support group, so to speak, that we can help keep each other honest. So if you are interested in that, send me an email and we can work towards that. If you are interested in the 100-day challenge, like I said, click the link below, head over and get the free manifesto to get a bit more of an insight into the program and take it from there. That's all I've got for you this week. I hope you enjoy it, because I did have to get up early for it, and Gary did have to work quite hard to get an internet connection by the sounds of it over there in the hurricane-afflicted Florida area. So until next week, get out there and train hard, but most importantly, train smart.